Good morning. Good morning. I apologize for my delay. I woke up a little bit late. Apparently I was tired. So, um, we're going to go ahead and get started. Say a quick prayer, and I'm still going to read for half an hour, so I'll go till about 6:45. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow, do all the things. I'm going to be doing this every day until we are done with this good book. And again, half an hour every day. So be sure to stick around and put on all your notifications so that you can come back and join me every day. I'll also be putting this on, I'll upload this to YouTube once I am done here. So in case you miss it, it's always going to be over there. So Lord, I thank you for this day. Lord, I thank you for waking us up this morning. Thank you, God, for all that you've done, all that you're doing, and all that you're going to do. I pray, Lord, that you are with us on this day, Lord, with us right now, Lord, that you bring anyone to this channel who needs to hear the word, Lord, anyone who's been trying to get closer to you, God, and just hasn't been able to figure out how to make time, Lord. I pray, God, that this be a tool for them so that they're able to hear the word every day for half an hour or as long as they like, God, so that they can become closer to you, Lord. And I just thank you in advance, God. I pray, Lord, that you open up our spiritual eyes and ears, God. I pray, Lord, that our thoughts be your thoughts and our words be your words, God. And I just pray that you bless us on this day. In Jesus' name, amen. So we left off on chapter 17. So here we go. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to Abram and said to him, I am El Shaddai. Walk with me and be trustworthy. I will make a covenant between us, and I will give you many, many descendants. Abram fell on his face and said to him, But me, my covenant is with you. You will be the ancestor of many nations. And because I have made you the ancestor of many nations, your name will no longer be Abram, but Abraham. I will make you very fertile. I will produce nations from you, and kings will come from you. I will set up my covenant with you and your descendants after you in every generation as an enduring covenant. I will be your God and your descendants' God after you. I will give you and your descendants the land in which you are immigrants, the whole land of Canaan, as an enduring possession, and I will be their God. God said to Abraham, As for you, you must keep my covenant, you and your descendants in every generation. This is my covenant with you and your descendants must keep. This is my covenant that you and your descendants must keep. Circumcise every male. You must circumcise the flesh of your foreskins, and it will be a symbol of the covenant between us. On the 8th day after birth, every male in every generation must be circumcised, including those who are not your own children, those born in your household, and those purchased with silver from foreigners. Be sure you circumcise those born in your household and those purchased with silver. Your flesh will embody my covenant as an enduring covenant. Any uncircumcised male whose flesh of his foreskin remains uncircumcised will be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant. God said to Abraham, As for your wife Sarai, you will no longer call her Sarai. Her name will now be Sarah. I will bless her and give you a son from her. I will bless her so that she will become nations, and kings of people will come from her. Abraham fell on his face and laughed. He said to himself, Can a 100-year-old man become a father? Or Sarah, a 90-year-old woman, have a child? To God, Abraham said, If only you would accept Ishmael. But God said, No, Your wife Sarah will give birth to a son for you, and you will name him Isaac. I will set up my covenant with him and with his descendants after him as an enduring covenant. As for Ishmael, I've heard your request. I will bless him and make him fertile and give him many, many descendants. He will be the ancestor of 12 tribal leaders, and I will make a great nation of him. But I will set up my covenant with Isaac, who will be born to Sarah at this time next year. When God finished speaking to him, God ascended, leaving Abraham alone. Abraham took his son Ishmael, all those born in his household, and all those purchased with his silver, of his foreskin. And his son Ishmael was 13 years old when the flesh of his foreskin was circumcised. That day Abraham and his son Ishmael were circumcised. All the men of his household, those born in his household, and those purchased with silver from foreigners, were circumcised with him. The Lord appeared to Abraham at the oaks of Mamre, while he sat at the entrance of his tent in the day's heat. He looked up and suddenly saw 3 men standing near him. As soon as he saw them, he ran from his tent entrance to greet them and bowed deeply. He said, Sirs, if you would be so kind, don't just pass by your servant. Let a little water be brought so you may wash your feet and refresh yourselves under the tree. Let me offer you a little bread so you will feel stronger, and after that you may leave your servant and go on your way, since you have visited your servant. They responded, Fine, do just as you have said. So Abraham hurried to Sarah at his tent and said, Hurry, knead 3 seahs of the finest flour and make some baked goods. Abraham ran to the cattle, took a healthy young calf, and gave it to a young servant, who prepared it quickly. Then Abraham took butter, milk, and the calf that had been prepared, put the food in front of them, and stood under the tree near them as they ate. They said to him, Where's your wife Sarah? And he said, Right here in the tent. Then one of the men said, I will definitely return to you about this time next year. Then your wife Sarah will have a son. Sarah was listening at the tent door behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were both very old. Sarah was no longer menstruating, so Sarah laughed to herself, thinking, I'm no longer able to have children, and my husband's old. The Lord said to Abraham, Why did Sarah laugh and say, Me give birth at my age? Is anything too difficult for the Lord? When I return to you about this time next year, Sarah will have a son. Sarah lied and said, I didn't laugh, because she was frightened. But he said, No, you laughed. The men got up from there and went over to look down on Sodom. Abraham was walking along with him to send them off, when the Lord said, Will I keep from Abraham what I'm about to do? Abraham will certainly become a great populous nation, and all the earth's nations will be blessed because of him. I have formed a relationship with him so that he will instruct his children and his household after him, and they will keep to the Lord's path, being moral and just, so that the Lord can do for Abraham everything he said he would. Then the Lord said, The cries of injustice from Sodom and Gomorrah are countless, and their sin is very serious. I will go down now to examine the cries of injustice that have reached me. Have they really done all this? If not, I want to know. The men turned away and walked toward Sodom, but Abraham remained standing in front of the Lord. Abraham approached and said, Will you really sweep away the innocent with the guilty? What if there are 50 innocent people in the city? Will you really sweep it away and not save the place for the sake of the 50 innocent people in it? It's not like you to do this, killing the innocent with the guilty as if there were no difference. It's not like you. Will the judge of all the earth not act justly? The Lord said, If I find 50 innocent people in the city of Sodom, I will save it because of them. Abraham responded, since I've already decided to speak with my Lord, even though I'm just soil and ash, what if there are 5 fewer innocent people than 50? Will you destroy the city over just 5? The Lord said, if I find 45 there, I won't destroy it. Once again, Abraham spoke. What if 40 are there? The Lord said, for the sake of the 40, I will do nothing. He said, don't be angry with me, my Lord, but let me speak. What if 30 are there? The Lord said, I won't do it if I find 30 there. Abraham said, since I've already decided to speak with my Lord, what if 20 are there? The Lord said, I won't do it for the sake of 20. Abraham said, don't be angry with me, Lord, but let me speak just once more. What if there are 10? And the Lord said, I will not destroy it because of the 10. When the Lord finished speaking with Abraham, he left, but Abraham stayed there in that place. The 2 messengers entered Sodom in the evening. Lot, who was sitting at the gate of Sodom, saw them, got up to greet them, and bowed low. He said, come to your servant's house, spend the night, and wash your feet. Then you can get up early and go on your way. But they said, no, we will spend the night in the town square. He pleaded earnestly with them, so they went with him and entered his house. He made a big meal for them, even baking unleavened bread, and they ate. Before they went to bed, the men of the city of Sodom, everyone from the youngest to the oldest, surrounded the house and called to Lot, where are the men who arrived tonight? Bring them out to us so that we may have with them. Lot went out toward the entrance, closed the door behind them, and said, my brothers, don't do such an evil thing. I've got 2 daughters who are virgins. Let me bring them out to you, and you may do to them whatever you wish. But don't do anything to the men, because they are now under the protection of my roof. They said, get out of the way. And they continued, does this immigrant want to judge us? Now we will hurt you more than we will hurt them. They pushed Lot back and came close to breaking down the door. The men inside reached out and pulled Lot back into the house with them and slammed the door. Then the messengers blinded the men near the entrance of the house, from the youngest to the oldest, so that they groped around trying to find the entrance. The men said to Lot, who's still with you here? Take away from this place your sons-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and everyone else you have in the city, because we are about to destroy this place. The Lord has found the cries of the injustice so serious that the Lord has sent us to destroy it. Lot went to speak to his sons-in-law, married to his daughters, and said, get up and get out of this place because the Lord is about to destroy the city. But his sons-in-law thought he was joking. When dawn broke, the messengers urged Lot, get up and take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, so that you are not swept away because of the evil in this city. He hesitated, but because the Lord intended to save him, the men grabbed him, his wife, and 2 daughters by the hand, took him out, and left him outside the city. After getting them out, the men said, save your lives. Don't look back, and don't stay in the valley. Escape to the mountains so that you are not swept away. But Lot said to them, no, my lords, please. You've done me a favor and have been so kind to save my life. But I can't escape to the mountains, since the catastrophe might overtake me there and I'd die. This city here is close enough to flee to, and it's small. It's small, right? Let me escape there, and my life will be saved. He said to Lot, I'll do this for you as well. I won't overthrow the city that you have described. Hurry, Escape to it. I can't do anything until you get there. That is why the name of the city is Zoar. As the sun rose over the earth, Lot arrived in Zoar, and the Lord rained down burning asphalt from the skies onto Sodom and Gomorrah. The Lord destroyed these cities, the entire valley, everyone who lived in the cities, and all of the fertile land's vegetation. When Lot's wife looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt. Abraham set out early for the place where he had stood with the Lord, and looked out over Sodom and Gomorrah, and over all the land of the valley. He saw the smoke from the land rise like smoke from a kiln. When God destroyed the cities in the valley, God remembered Abraham and set Lot away from the disaster that overtook the cities in which Lot had lived. Since Lot had become fearful of living in Zoar, he and his 2 daughters headed up from Zoar and settled in the mountains, where he and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. The older daughter said to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is no man in the land to sleep with us, as is the custom everywhere. Come on, and let's give our father wine to drink. Lie down with him, and we'll have children from our father." The night they served their father wine, and the older daughter went in and lay down with her father. Without him noticing, she lay down or got up. The next day, the older daughter said to the younger, "Since I lay down with our father last night, let's serve him wine tonight too, and you go in and lie down with him, so that we will both have children from our father." They served their father wine that night also, and the younger daughter lay down with him without him knowing when she lay down or got up. Both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The older daughter gave birth to a son and named him Moab. He is the ancestor of today's Moabites. The younger daughter also gave birth to a son and named him Ben-Ami. He is the ancestor of today's Ammonites. Abraham traveled from there toward the land of the arid southern plain, and he settled as an immigrant in Gerar, between Kadesh and Shur. Abraham said to his wife Sarah, "She's my sister." So King Abimelech of Gerar took her into his household. But God appeared to Abimelech that night in a dream and said to him, "You are as good as dead because of this woman you have taken. She is a married woman." Now Abimelech hadn't gone near her, and he said, "Lord, will you really put an innocent nation to death? Didn't he say to me, 'She's my sister'? And didn't she even say, she's my sister, and didn't she say, 'He's my brother'? My intentions were pure, and I acted innocently when I did this." God said to him in the dream, "I know that your intentions were pure when you did this. In fact, I kept you from sinning against me. That's why I didn't allow you to touch her. Now return the man's wife. He's a prophet. He will pray for you so you may live. But if you don't return her, know that you and everyone with you will die." Abimelech got up early in the morning and summoned all of his servants. When he told them everything that had happened, the men were terrified. Then Abimelech summoned Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? What sin did I commit against you, that you have brought this terrible sin to me and my kingdom, by doing to me something that simply isn't done?" Abimelech said to Abraham, "What were you thinking when you did this thing?" Abraham said, "I thought to myself, no one reveres God here, and they will kill me to get my wife. She is, truthfully, my sister, my father's daughter, but not my mother's daughter, and she's now my wife. When God led me away from my father's household, I said to her, 'This is the loyalty I expect from you. In each place we visit, tell them he is my brother.' Abimelech took flocks, cattle, male servants, and female servants, and gave them to Abraham. And Abimelech returned his wife Sarah. Abimelech said, 'My land is here available to you. Live wherever you wish.' To Sarah he said, 'I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. It means that neither you nor anyone with you has done anything wrong. Everything has been set right.' Abraham prayed to God, and God restored Abimelech, his wife, and his women servants to health, and they were able to have children. Because of the incident with Abraham's wife Sarah, the Lord had kept all the women in Abimelech's household from having children. The Lord was attentive to Sarah just as he had said, and the Lord carried out just what he had promised her. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son for Abraham when he was old, at the very time God had told him. Abraham named his son, the one Sarah bore him, Isaac. Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, just as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born. Sarah said, 'God has given me laughter. Everyone who hears about it will laugh at me.' She said, Who could have told Abraham that Sarah would nurse sons? But now I've given birth to a son when he was old." The boy grew and stopped nursing. On the day he stopped nursing, Abraham prepared a huge banquet. Sarah saw Hagar's son laughing, the one Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham. So she said to Abraham, "Send this servant away with her son. This servant's son won't share the inheritance with my son Isaac." This upset Abraham terribly because the boy was his son. God said to Abraham, "Don't be upset about the boy and your servant. Do everything Sarah tells you to do because your descendants will be traced through Isaac. But I will make of your servant's son a great nation too, because he is also your descendant." Abraham got up early in the morning, took some bread and a flask of water, and gave it to Hagar. He put the boy in her shoulder sling and sent her away. She left and wandered through the desert near Beersheba. Finally, the water in the flask ran out, and she put the boy down under one of the desert shrubs. She walked away from him about as far as a bow shot and sat down, telling herself, "I can't bear to see the boy die." She sat at a distance, cried out in grief, and wept. God heard the boy's cries, and God's messenger called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, "Hagar, what's wrong? Don't be afraid. God has heard the boy's cries over there. Get up, pick up the boy, and take him by the hand, because I will make of him a great nation." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well. She went over, filled the water flask, and gave the boy a drink. God remained with the boy. He grew up, lived in the desert, and became an expert archer. He lived in the Paran desert, and his mother found him an Egyptian wife. At the time, Abimelech and Phicol, commander of his forces, said to Abraham, "God is with you in everything that you do. So give me your word under God that you won't cheat me, my children, or my descendants. Just as I have treated you fairly, you must treat me, and the land in which you are an immigrant." Abraham said, "I give you my word." Then Abraham complained to Abimelech about a well that Abimelech's servants had seized. Abimelech said, "I don't know who has done this, and you didn't tell me. I didn't even hear about it until today. Abraham took flocks and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them drew up a treaty. Abraham set aside by themselves 7 female lambs from the flock. So Abimelech said to Abraham, "What are these 7 lambs you set apart?" Abraham said, "The 7 lambs that you take from me will attest that I dug this well. Therefore, the name of this place is Beersheba, because there they gave each other their word." After they drew up a treaty at Beersheba, Abimelech and Phicol, commander of his forces, returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and he worshipped there in the name of the Lord, El Olam. Abraham lived as an immigrant in the Philistines' land for a long time. After these events, God tested Abraham and said to him, "Abraham." Abraham answered, "I'm here." And God said, "Take your son, your only son whom you love, Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah. Offer him up as an entirely burned offering there on one of the mountains that I will show you." Abraham got up early in the morning, harnessed his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, together with his son Isaac. He split the wood for the entirely burned offering, set out, and went to the place God had described to him. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place at a distance. Abraham said to his servants, "Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will walk up there, worship, and then come back to you." Abraham took the wood for the entirely burned offering and laid it on his son Isaac. He took the fire and the knife in his hand, and the 2 of them walked on together. Isaac said to his father, "My father." Abraham said, "I'm here, my son." Isaac said, "Here is the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the entirely burned offering?" Abraham said, "The lamb for the entirely burned offering? God will see to it, my son." The 2 of them walked on together. They arrived at the place God had described to him. Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He tied up his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then Abraham stretched out his hand and took the knife to kill his son as a sacrifice. But the Lord's messenger called out to Abraham from heaven, "Abraham, Abraham?" Abraham said, "I'm here." The messenger said, "Don't stretch out your hand against the young man, and don't do anything to him. I now know that you revere God and didn't hold back your son, your only son, from me." Abraham looked up and saw a single ram, caught by its horns in the dense underbrush. Abraham went over, took the ram, and offered it as an entirely burned offering instead of his son. Abraham named the place "The Lord Sees." That is the reason people today on this mountain the Lord is seen. That is the reason people today say, "On this mountain the Lord is seen." The Lord's messenger called out to Abraham from heaven a second time and said, "I give my word as the Lord, that because you did this and didn't hold back your son, your only son, I will bless you richly, and I will give you countless descendants, as many as the stars in the sky and the grains of sand on the seashore. They will conquer their enemies' cities. All the nations of the earth will be blessed because of your descendants, because you obeyed me." After Abraham returned to the young men, they got up and went to Beersheba, where Abraham lived. After these events, Abraham was told, "Milcah has now also given birth to sons from your brother Nahor. They are Uz, his oldest son, Buz, his brother, Kemuel, the father of Aram, Chesed, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlaph, and Bethuel. Bethuel became the father of Rebekah. These are the 8 Milcah bore for Nahor, Abraham's brother. His secondary wife's name was Reumah, and she gave birth to Tebah, Gaham, Tehash, and Maka. So that concludes today's reading. Tomorrow, be sure to join me again. And if you got here a little later, or if you missed today's live, be sure to check me out over on YouTube, because I will be posting this later this morning. So I pray you all have an amazingly blessed day and be the reason someone smiles. Bye, guys.